The following video was made possible by EA Game Changers. Hi everyone, and welcome to my overview of The Sims 4 StrangerVille. With this game pack, you get a new world called StrangerVille, where some odd things have been happening, and the focus of this pack is exploring and solving the mystery behind the strange events. This pack also comes with a new military career, and when this video is going up, the pack isn't out yet because I did get an early access code, but it will be out on February 26th. And with this video, I'm going to be showing all of the create a sim and build and buy mode items that come with the pack. I'm also going to show the new world. I'm not going to show too much of the gameplay though, because this pack is story driven and I really don't want to spoil any of that for you. So I'll just show how the game prompts you to begin the story and how you either avoid or delve into it. Over in Create a Sim, we have 3 new hairstyles for female sims. This first one is definitely my favorite of the pack. Then we have these really nice dreads. And lastly, we have this cute bob, which will also work really well for male sims. Then we have a couple of new hats. So this first one is in more of an aviator style. So that goes with the crashed airplane items that we will see once we move on to the build and buy mode objects. And then we have this really cute cowboy style hat. Next, there's a couple of new necklaces. So this first one's a bit more of a futuristic alien influenced one. Like it looks kind of like it's made of maybe tinfoil. I don't know, it's kind of hard to see. And then this one is a turquoise necklace, which goes with the Arizona / New Mexico setting for the world, because I believe turquoise jewelry is pretty big over in that part of the country. Next, we have 9 new tops, and a bunch of these are really cute, especially this first one. And I also like this one as well. And I noticed that they're kind of a mix of breezy clothing that you might wear in a desert climate, although I was surprised by how much of it was long sleeve clothing, and that some of it also has more of a Western influence, like this coat here, which has that fringe detailing on it, which is really cute. And then this is another one of the items that's a little bit more Wild West kind of influenced. I'm not really too keen on this one though. I don't know, I just don't personally like that style, but this is another one that I really like. I think this one and the first top are my 2 favorites that came with the pack. I feel like some of these items also have kind of a bohemian influence to them. This one is also really cool. I noticed that this one shows up in the formal category, so you could use this to make a formal outfit. So yeah, that's another one that I really like. This one is more so in that Western inspired style. So this is another one I'm not as much of a fan of, but that's more of a matter of my personal taste. This one is really cute too. I love how you have the off-the-shoulder t-shirt with that crocheted jacket over it. And then this is another Western influence item. I could see this being someone who is maybe the owner of a ranch would wear, or someone who's very wealthy, because I noticed, so as I'll show them a little bit when I view the world, but there's a family that's supposed to be like I think the husband was the mayor of Strangerville, so they're like the richest family in the world, so that's the kind of outfits I envision them wearing. But now we're on to the bottoms. So we do have 6 bottoms. The first one looked like it was more of a formal pair of pants. This pair of pants, I'm not really, the one before this one, I'm not really a huge fan of. I just personally don't like the detailing on it, but these pants here I think are really cute. And then we have this longer skirt, which is also really cute. Like, I just like a good bit of the clothing that came with this pack. And then moving on from that, we have these kind of ratty looking jeans. So you could use that if you have a sim who's maybe kind of like a conspiracy theorist sim who's kind of in hiding, you know, they just kind of patch their clothing instead of going out and buying new clothing. And then moving on from that, we have 4 full outfits. We had that kind of Western inspired dress there, and then we have this lab coat, and then there's this one, which definitely has some inspiration from dresses during the Victorian era. This is pretty cute, I like it. It's kind of a nice mix of modern and old. And then lastly, we have this really cute dress. This is probably my favorite of the full outfits. And then moving on, we have this bracelet, and some of the swatches have more turquoise in them, so it kind of matches that necklace that we saw earlier. Then we have a couple of shoes. So these shoes are more cowboy boots, and they're actually pretty close, pretty cute, although I do like the second pair of boots more than the first one, because some of them do have kind of a snakeskin pattern in them, but then some of them have this pattern here, which is more plain, and that pattern for it I do really like. And then lastly, for the female sims, we have 3 styled looks. So moving over to the male sims, they have one more hairstyle which has shaved sides to it. This one I really like, and it does go with the military theme that some of the items of the pack have. And then we also have 7 tops for male Sims. The first one is this military-inspired jacket, which I really like. And then we have this hoodie here, which is really cool and kind of reminds me of some of the clothing items that we got with Laundry Day stuff. So I feel like some of the clothing in this pack and that pack have a similar style, although as I said before, this pack you could definitely see more of a Western, like a Western US influence. And here we have this button-up shirt, which is another item with that Western influence. Same with this button-up shirt here. I probably won't use some of the clothing items that came in this pack very much, but I do like that they're trying to add in some different styles than we've gotten before. But here we have this kind of messy button-up shirt over a t-shirt. This one, I mean, I generally like those kinds of shirts, but something about that one I just don't really like the look of. It just feels, I don't know, just unnaturally sloppy. I don't know if that's like the best, like that's exactly what's off about it to me, but something is. Then we have this suit, which has a bolo tie in it, so it's more of that Western influence. And then here we have a lab coat. Lastly, there are 3 style looks for male Sims, and then we will be on to the child Sims, who once again really didn't get much. I mean, this is kind of always the thing where child Sims really get very little, but they only got 2 items in this pack, which I found very disappointing. And then toddlers got nothing once again, so we just had that shirt there, and then this dress, and that is it. Although the items we do get are really cute, but I just really wish we had gotten more to go with the themes of this pack than those items. And then lastly, we do have the styled look. So there is a new aspiration that came with this pack. So it's called StrangerVille Mystery. So this aspiration will help to guide you if you want to solve the mystery that comes with Strangerville. Then we have a paranoid trait. So these Sims feel like Sims are talking about them. They enjoy being in basements more. So that's pretty cool that they included that new trait. And then over in build-in mode, we have a couple of new wallpapers. So we have this corrugated metal one, then we have that more futuristic lab one. We've got a couple of new floors. Then we have a whole bunch of doors and windows. So there are 9 doors in total. And I really love the style of the doors and windows that came with this pack. It wasn't what I was expecting. I'm not sure exactly what I was expecting from this pack. I guess I was expecting something a little bit more modern than this, but I'm pleasantly surprised. Like, I'm glad we didn't get more modern items because we got mid-century modern stuff with Get Famous, so I'm definitely glad that this goes more in the traditional direction. I've also been wanting more things to go with Victorian homes because I feel like a lot of these items are in kind of a Western Victorian style, and I feel like we've kind of been lacking in items that really go with Victorian homes, so I'm glad they added more ornate things to go with that style. Then we have a couple more, not really modern doors, but we had that bunker door, and then we had that one that looked like it could be a trailer door. So that could be used for making a trailer home, which is something I want to do at some point, using the items from this pack. But we are onto the windows, so we got 7 of those, and they are pretty much all in the same style that those first doors we saw were in. And I cannot wait to build with these items because these windows and doors are just beautiful. Like these may be my favorite items that come with the pack, because I wasn't really thoroughly impressed with a lot of the other items. Like and I think that's generally because it's not stuff I feel like I would use regularly in my build. Some of it is, but a lot of it isn't. It's very niche and specific to the theme of this pack. But those windows and doors are definitely great. I'm going to be using them a lot. So we do have 4 fences. The first one was kind of like the ones we got with Get Famous to border the stages. I guess you would use those somewhere, maybe like a secret lab build. And then we have some more of the traditional Victorian-esque fences that go with the windows and doors that we saw before. And then to go with the fences, we have 3 gates. Something I was very disappointed by was that there was no new plants with this pack, because looking around the world, you can see all of these different kinds of plants that we've never had in the game before. So it's just kind of disappointing to see all of these new plant assets for the world and then to not have any of them in the build and buy mode catalog, because I feel like we've been kind of lacking in plants for more arid climates. So when I saw the trailer for this pack and noticed all these different plants around the world, I was looking forward to possibly getting more plants to use in worlds like this, but there's nothing we could place on lots, and that just really frustrated me because they're so beautiful, and it just would have been great to actually have had them in the catalog. But now I'm just showing the columns and spandrels that we got, which are beautiful and continue that more Victorian theme that we had before. We also have this rooftop decoration, which is really cute. And I'm just in love with this style. Like I said before, this whole Victorian theme is my favorite thing about the items that came with this pack. The buy catalog, I could do without a lot of those items, to be honest, but that's more of a matter of my personal taste. Other people may look at those items and think they're great and really want to use them. But over in buy mode, we do have a desk chair and a bed. We also have this bunker shelf type item, which I think would be really good to use in garages, although the gas mask kind of ruins it a little bit. You may not want a shelf with a gas mask on it in your garage, but it still is good for that. We have these cool fighting robots. That's kind of another fitness equipment. There was a stall that sells some miscellaneous goods you'll see out in the world. Over in wall decorations, we have these gross slime items, and then we have this poster that has a bunch of different military and space themed swatches for it. So this could be really cool to just stick all over a room. We have this really cool painting. Then we have this weird tentacle sculpture and some barrels and miscellaneous paper decorations, which I was glad about. And then these are some crashed plane parts, which you can place. So that is really cool. You can use that shell from the tail to put a building within, because I noticed there's a house in the world that did that. And now we're onto the rug. So you first saw those stains, and then here we just have a weird plant rug and some other various kinds of rugs. Moving on to wall decorations, we have this pendant, which is more of a military themed item. Then we have this thing, which is more so meant for the science labs. There's an air vent, and then there's this other science lab type decoration. So a lot of this stuff is meant for the science lab build that did come with this world, but some of it's kind of like run-down items you may find in like a trashy bar, so that kind of goes with the trashy bar that's within the world. Here we have some miscellaneous decorations. That armadillo one is really cute. This bar item is cool as well. Then we have 5 lava lamps, which I was really happy to see because I've been wanting lava lamps in this game. That car wall decoration is really cool too. The saucer light is as well. We also have laptops, and I was really happy to see that they are draggable, like you can drag them into your inventory. We have this retro jukebox, and then some of these miscellaneous items you might put in a lab. These are probably not going to use too much, but they're still cool. And then lastly, we have a bookshelf. So we do have a few pre-made rooms. I believe there are 4 total. So there's this outside one with these creepy plants growing everywhere, which definitely gives me a Stranger Things vibe. And I believe Simguru Kate said they were a bit inspired by Stranger Things with this pack. There's also this really cool bunker room. I was disappointed to see that shower there is 1,500 simoleons. I don't get why a crappy shower like that would be so expensive. But yeah, that was definitely a bit annoying, because I feel like that should be half the price. That should be just a cheap shower that doesn't take much money. Moving on to the world, StrangerVille contains 11 editable lots, which are split into 2 neighborhoods. The first one is StrangerVille Plaza, which is like the town center. So it contains 2 community lots, a bar and a library, and then 4 residential lots, and it also has a more rundown feel to it, whereas Shady Acres is a more high-end area and contains the more wealthy residents of the world and has 5 residential lots. There's also the secret lab lot, which you can only visit, you can't edit at all, and that's because it really ties in with the story that comes with the pack, so it makes sense that it's not something they want you to go in and edit. We also have 4 pre-made households. So first is the Cahill household, which is cool because it's a guy who lives in what remains of his crashed airplane. And then there's the Sigworth household. Then we have the Eclectic Arts household. And then we have the Roswell household. And they're supposed to be the wealthiest members or the wealthiest residents of Strangerville. And their name is a nice nod to Roswell, New Mexico. Overall, I'm really impressed with this world, and it's just very beautiful. I really like how it's made. I like it more than Del Sol Valley, and I was not expecting an 11-lot world, or actually technically 12-lot world, to come with a game pack, seeing as the last expansion pack had an 11-lot world. So it's nice to have a game pack that comes with more lots than expected after we got an expansion pack that came with less lots than expected. And the world is just beautiful in general. I'm glad we got another world that has a more arid climate, and overall the weather here is very hot, which of course makes sense. And as you can see from some of the video clips I'm going to show, there was a heat wave going on. There's some really interesting lots that you can build on this world, like this lot that's in the middle of a trailer park. So it's kind of cool that you can make a trailer home and it's in an area that it fits into. Then there's also that lot I mentioned before that has a guy who's living in his crashed airplane. That's kind of another really cool aspect to it, and I just like the rundown look that Strangerville Plaza has to it. And Shady Acres is also very beautiful. It's got a lot of lush landscaping and really cool plant life to it. So I'm looking forward to using this world more in the future. And you can live in this world without digging into the story. You just have to not do certain interactions, and I'll discuss that more shortly. And then the lab area is really cool as well. It's got this eerie feel to it. It's in the middle of this giant crater, and this world gives me huge Strangetown vibes, because Strangetown was a world that came with The Sims 2, and I really enjoyed playing in that world. And this world isn't exactly like that, of course, because, you know, we're 2 iterations of the game later, but you could definitely see the influence from Strangetown in this world, and just kind of a nice throwback in that way. As far as getting into the story, when you play as a new household in StrangerVille for the first time in a save file, you will get a prompt that pops up telling you about, the weird things that have been happening in Strangerville, and it says that you begin solving the mystery by talking about Strangerville with some of the residents, and it seemed like weird things don't happen until you go up to a sim and use the Talk About Strangerville interaction, because as soon as I did that, I noticed that I started seeing the people creepily walking around. So I believe as long as you don't do that interaction, you won't really see much of the weird stuff. You'll still see the strange plants around the world, because there are these weird bulbous plants all over the place, but I don't think you'll see any of the creepy walking until you do the interaction. So if you want to simply live in Strangerville and not have to deal with any of that, then just avoid doing that interaction. And then, you know, as you do more interactions and get deeper into the story, things start getting weirder and weirder. Your sim could possibly get possessed, but I don't really want to go more into it than that, because as I said before, I really don't want to spoil this for any of you. But I did see one of the sim gurus say that in order to get the full effect of the story, you need to have a bar and a library lot in the world. I mean, if you take them out and replace them with something else, then you can still do the story, but you lose some aspects of it. So if you want to have every aspect of the story, then make sure to keep those 2 lot types within the world. I also saw one of the sim gurus say that the story takes about 3 to 5 hours to complete, depending on how much you mix in your Sim's day-to-day life and that, you know, whether you go all in and try to speed run through the story, or if you kind of take your time with it more. So that is something important to consider if you're trying to decide whether or not this pack is worth your money, because to some people 3 to 5 hours is going to sound like plenty of time. It's going to make the pack feel worthwhile to them, but then to other people 3 to 5 hours is going to feel like not enough time. So yeah, that's definitely something important to take into consideration. And I do worry about replayability with this pack, because there's only one ending to the story. There are different ways you can get to that ending, but really only one end to the mystery. So I do worry that once you solve the mystery, you're not really going to want to touch the core gameplay with this pack again, or at least not for a while. So yeah, that's definitely something to take into account. I just kind of worry that's going to be one of those things where you play through it, you know, you spend like a weekend playing through it, and then you don't touch it again, you know, maybe like a year afterwards you might go back to it, but, you know, that's kind of like a core of this game pack that you're never going to touch again. I mean, you still have the world and the military career on top of it, as well as all the items, so that does make it more worthwhile. But yeah, definitely keep in mind that once you complete the story, you're not really going to use a lot of the gameplay that much more. So it's not something like Dine Out or Spa Day or even Parenthood that you're going to find yourself continuously implementing into your gameplay. It's something you kind of have to go outside of your regular gameplay to experience. I still think it's a really cool concept, and I'm glad they're trying new things. And I haven't gone through the whole story yet, but I have gone into it a little bit, and it is fun. It's a different way of playing the game than what you would typically do, and that is something nice. If you do want to break from that everyday gameplay and want to experience something weird for a few hours. So if that's something you're interested in, then this may be a good pack for you. If not, then it probably isn't. It's a very niche pack that may not be for a lot of people. But moving on to the military career, it is a career that functions like the gardening career and the ones from City Living, where you can either choose to go to work or work from home. And I'm glad that they're making more packs more careers like this, because I do find careers like this more interesting than just the simple you go in and you have no choice but to go into work. And there are 2 branches in it. So you have the officer and covert operations branches. So if you go into the officer branch, you can work up to becoming a general. And then if you go into the covert operations branch, then you can become more of a secret service type person. So You can be like one of the people going around the world in the van spying on people. And I do really like that they added this new career into the pack. It definitely makes it feel more worthwhile to me. Another thing is that there is a curio stall that you will see in the world near the trail park area. So if you go here, you can buy that weird spaghetti strainer hat that you may have seen in the trailer, as well as that novelty shirt. You can also buy some other sword items like different books and little trinkets. So yeah, go here, if you get this pack, and you want to buy some of those more odd things, then you can go to this stall and get that. And there's also some secret items that you can get once you get further into the mystery. Another neat gameplay item is the listening device. So you can buy bugs through this and then stick them on a sim, and then once you've stuck a bug on a sim, then you can spy on them. So this will help you with solving the mystery, because getting those audio recordings and notes and other things you find throughout the world will count as clues that will help you with that. But that is all that I wanted to share about the gameplay that comes with this pack. Overall, I think it's a pretty cool pack. Like I said, I like that they're trying something different with this pack, although I do worry a lot about replayability and whether or not this is something that you're going to be continuing to use as time goes on. I mean, I think the world is definitely something that you can continue to use, but it's just the gameplay is, like I said, something you're gonna go through once and then maybe not touch ever again. But I do like the style that a lot of the items have, particularly that Victorian style that I was talking about. So I was just overall pleased with what I saw with this pack, although there were a few things I wish were different and some things I wish were added into it. But I feel like it's a pretty good pack, but it's something, like I said, it's something that may not be for everyone, so you just have to think about how much use you're going to get out of the content that comes with this pack. But that is about all I have to say, so I hope that this video was helpful if you are trying to figure out whether or not you want this pack. And that is going to be all for me, so if you enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, and bye!